well as your support from a long time that you have been with us. I would like to set the agenda for the meeting today. I would firstly like for our MD to say a couple of words. Hello, everyone. No audio. Am I audible? Message.
हेलो
आवाज आ रही है इसमें? Okay, Nitin is saying I'm audible. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect to say. Then I'd like to continue. Our agenda is that first I would like our MD to say a couple of words. Then I would like our CFO, Mr. Murthy, to show the half-yearly results. After that, I would like to show you the frequently asked questions that we get from our investors. And after that is done, we would like to open the floor for questions from you. And as that being clear, I would like to hand over the stage to our MD, Mr. Milind Padole.
For joining in and taking our time to attend this call. And so we'll start with Safe Harbor. And then is my message. ARAPL has reported positive H1 and better margins with best top line in last 15 years, in spite of spiraling raw material prices. This year, our H1 is at 350% growth year on year, as last year was complete washout, and 25% year on year growth as compared to pre-COVID year, that is FY20. With this, I can firmly say that we are completely out of COVID, which was a complete washout last year. Having consolidated our existing client base, our focus will be to add new customer base. Our existing business has a lot of customization. Okay, so while this gives us a very niche advantage, we have always been on the lookout for new opportunities in our domain, which will bring us scalability. And I'm glad to announce our new foray into warehousing automation with our 100% subsidiary of ARAPL by the name ARAPL RAS. So RAS is Robo as a Service, as you might have heard SaaS. So RAS is a new concept which is catching up everywhere in the world. And we have launched a 100% subsidiary of ARAPL, which is ARAPL RAS. And there'll be a lot of questions which we'll be answering on this subsidiary also in this call. The purpose of this is, with e-commerce and 3PL growing multiple fold, ARAPL RAS aims to bring about value to this segment by reducing warehouse cost by half while increasing speed and accuracy by 3x. And all this will literally come at no capital cost for our customers. With changing shopping trends and increased online demand, we believe we are at a tipping point to exploit this opportunity. Further, the recent rolled out ESOP looks like a great success with COVID behind us and a strong team who are now partners in this game with ESOP. We are confident of a strong momentum and maximizing our shareholders' value. So as you all know, we have these three verticals. So I will quickly explain you our vertical and future trends. So if you see, this is our oldest vertical, which is welding automation, which is almost 15 years old now. Just hold on. So this is our welding automation vertical, which is our oldest vertical, wherein we build the complete robotic lines, welding robotic lines. wherein we supply the complete welding fixtures, PLC, robo, gun, and stuff like that. So I'll just take a few minutes to show this video so that you're clear about our all verticals. Light बंद कर दो. In this, we supply the gantry here, the gantry, then the fixtures, then the robos, and so robos here are bought out. Some of the robos are bought out, and these vertical robos, which is 2 axis, which we make in house. So this is a line supplied to Mahindra Zairabad. So these are the complete turnkey welding plants which we design, we supply, and there is a lot of customization every time when we supply such lines. So there is always a thought that we should have some product which will get us scalability, which is less of customization and more of productization. And that is what we are going to do in ARAPL RAS, wherein we will have a robotic product which we will be able to scale at a exponential level. No, there is no audio to the video. So if you can hear me, that is fine. So this is a robotic line for Mahindra Bolero Cargo, the portion which you can see on the pickup van. So these robotic line is to make that. So this is our oldest vertical. We have been doing this for last 15 years. The servo-driven multiple axis machines, which are also called robos. So 2-axis robos or 3-axis and 4-axis, 5-axis robos. Then 6-axis, there is no point in making 6-axis robots nowadays because it is very economically available. So mostly the articulated 6-axis robots is directly bought from outside. But all other machines or robots, whatever you can see here, 2-axis and whatever is moving, these machines are basically made by ARAPL. So we are basically specialized in, servo-driven motors, servo-driven machines. So this is one vertical wherein we have welding expertise for automotive. We cater to automotive clients here. Second vertical is automated parking solutions. That is also we started in 2014. This vertical we started in 2014 with the view to reduce the customization and increase productization, and also to diversify in other customer base. So here we cater to our real estate customers. So maximum market comes from Mumbai, which was badly affected in COVID, and also smart cities. So this tower, what you can see, which is almost 70 meters, 72 meters, is a car parking tower, and we build such towers.
ARAPL offers parking system for residential and tower parking system for apartments or flat owners. The whole process of parking requires swiping of the card near the parking system and parking the car in the pallet, which is then automatically parked by mechanical lift system. Customers have the floor level as per the customer requirement. In automated parking systems, a system detects and identifies a free slot with help of IP68 sensors, then automatically parks the car once it is placed on the pallet. Equipped with double collapsible door to reduce closing and opening time. This is then controlled by the automatic sensors and has the ability to detect if the car is properly parked in the pallet. This is completely hassle-free procedure run by automated sensor-based system, completely controlled by automated machine to equip the system in minimum area without any hassle. It is equipped with turntable for easy parking and retrieval of car. In usual parking systems, vehicles are parked horizontally, and this can be called as parallel parking slots. (90 to 120 meters per minute speed of lift is provided in the tower car parking. This is easy to drive in and out without hassle, and it's safe and reliable with less noise. The Tower Car Parking PLC is equipped with IoT and can be connected with Wi-Fi or hotspots. Introducing Industries 4.0 expertise in the parking system by providing IoT pallet with electrical charging points, using IP68 sensors to optimize uptime. Affordable Robotics Automation Limited proudly presents 3 towers of 72 meters each, with total parking capacity of 210 cars. And car parking speed of 120 meters per minute. Affordable Robotics Automation Limited Tower Car Parking at Rudraksh CHS stands as one of the tallest tower car parking in Mumbai. ARAPL is currently operational at over 71 sites in Mumbai. And many more to come.
So this was our second vertical, which was automated parking. So here we cater to real estate. And the third vertical, which is ARAPL RAS, which we have started, which is a 100% subsidiary of ARAPL. So I'll show you what we are going to do in this. First, let's start with so these are the mobile robots which we have made in last 1.5 years, which is completely built in-house. So the complete warehouse will be managed by these mobile robots. So these are also called AGVs. So I'll again play. So these are the robots which are carrying the racks, which will have the material, and they arrange the stock, they arrange for the picking, they arrange for the put away. So the robots are going to work along with the men there. So these are basically cobots which will be working with along with the man. So this is one kind of robo. Then there are another. So these are called VLM. So these will be working. So a lot of car parking expertise again goes into this, and the material racks are being brought vertically stored, and they are getting down, and from there the mobile robots pick them and get it to the people. So we are increasing the speed, the storage volume. So from the down, the mobile robots bring it to the man. The man is standing here. All the material gets to the man, and the man picks up and fills B2C orders. Like whatever order you place, those are filled by these robots and man put together. So there are different product. This is a complete warehouse wherein VLMs and conveyors are used. So there are 2-3 models in which either VLM and robots, mobile robots are working, and somewhere VLM and conveyors are working. So conveyors are being replaced by mobile robots now, because conveyors are taking fixed space and those are rigid. Person stands in a place, and the material comes to that, so it is called goods to the person. And in the present situation where in the conventional warehouse, goods, so it is person to goods, and that enables him to only pick 150 picks every hour, whereas when we do material to man, the number of picks increases to 500 picks per person per hour. material goes back in the storage. So this is AGV now, the mobile robos. So this is our top management team, wherein Satish Chavan is the director for manufacturing. Mr. Murthy Dakshinamurthy is our CFO. Sanjay Jakkal is our design director. Jerry Kurian is our CTO. Robin Filippo is our new business development, and Rahul is our CIO. Some of the recent development, we are in the process of taking advisory boards, advisory board members. So we have hired Mr. Devjit Roy, who is from IIM professor, who has done around 200 case studies in warehouse automation. He has done PhD from Rotterdam, and so we have hired him as a advisory board, and there are few more advisory board which we are signing. So once we sign them, probably we will announce. And they are some of the industry leaders which we are signing up. So I will ask Mr. Murthy to explain this.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This is half yearly performances on the portion of profitability. For the total revenue of the first half of FY22 is we closed with the top line of 30 CR, whereas the previous year it was 6.7 CR, and with the EBITDA of 2.46 is the current F1's current financial year's first half's EBITDA is 2.46 CRs. Whereas due to the COVID and all that, last year it was on the negative side of 5.56 CR. And PBT for the current year F1 first half is 90 lakhs, whereas it was in the previous year it was 7.6 CRs, and we closed with the PAT of 73 lakhs with the positive side in this H1. And this is the segment-wise revenue. From the total revenue of 30 crores, our segment-wise revenue is from the automation, we closed at 18.5 CR, and car parking, it was 11.5 CR, and others is around some small amount is there. Whereas the previous year, it was 6.68 crores. In this, 3.28 crores is from automation, and 3.4 crore was from car parking. This is the financial year's, last financial year's full year's segment-wise revenue. From the 56 crores, around 70% was from automation and 30% was from car parking. In this financial year end also, it will close like the same only. And this is the profitability statement of all which we have seen the synopsis of in the earlier slide. Revenue from the operations is 30 CRs from this H1, and material consumption is 60%, whereas in the last year it was 70%, while the financial year end, the last financial year end, it was 66%. So we did optimization in this, as we informed earlier. And now it's closed around 61%, and the employee and benefit cost also reduced to the 19%, and other expenses were around 12%. EBITDA is 8% with 2.46 in absolute numbers. And after finance cost and depreciation, our PBT is 90 lakhs, which is 3%, and PAT is 73 lakhs, which is 2.43%. While in the previous year, it was on the totally negative side of 7.57 CR. And the full financial year's PAT was 3.53 CR in the previous years. So in this, we did optimization in all the expenses. Forwards, the material cost has been reduced in spite of increase in the raw material prices. We did some value engineering and reduced the same. And employee benefit expenses also. This year, we means the skilled employees have given the most contributions to that. And next on the balance sheet front, on liability sides, shareholding, share capitals, there is no change, and reserves and surplus will contribute with some profits. Long-term borrowings, there was no additional borrowings till H1. So there is no increase in that. Other long-term borrowings also no increase in that. Short-term borrowings also we kept the same only. Trade payables, it was reduced a little bit, and other current liabilities was reduced from 12.56 CRs to 8 CR. Short-term provisions is the same one. There's no much changes in that. And on the asset side also, fixed assets, there is no much addition to the fixed assets in this fiscal year. And non-current investments, deferred tax assets, and the long-term loans and advances also, there is no change in that. Inventories, there is no increase in this inventory. In this FY, we have utilized the inventories which were lying at the March. So there is decrease in the inventories still, and trade receivables also decreased in this H1. Reserves and cash equivalents are not much change in that. Other long-term borrowings, long-term loans and advances, and short-term loans and advances, there is no change. And current assets also, there is no change in that. In current assets, and there is some advances as lying, so it's increased there. So there are some major key points which will be elaborated by our MD.
Okay, so these are some of the frequently asked questions. So we thought we will reply in advance, and then we can open for question answers. So margins as compared to last 2 years, we have improved 500 BPS in spite of a steep increase in raw material prices. As stated earlier in our previous meeting held on 3/7, this is attributed to various initiatives we have undertaken. Value engineering, design optimization, and other things. So FY22 growth trends, the current trends, which is 25% growth over the best performing years, which is in line with our prediction, and we will strive to grow over this. Half-yearly liability has been reduced to the extent of 10%. Half-yearly PAT, when we compare to the last 2-year performance, this year H1 PAT is better in spite of increased commodity price. This we have achieved due to various initiatives as discussed. So total order book and executable orders. So we have an order book of 108 crores for H2, and out of which we expect to execute around 65 to 70 CR before March end. So FY23 outlook, we expect a higher revenue and good contribution on account of new business from warehousing automation. Emerging competition and plan. With increased revenue, our offerings to customers will have better value, and this will increase our market share in existing verticals also. Now we'll share the future outlook. So future outlook, as we discussed, 25% growth that we will maintain. Other thing is about ARAPL RAS. So it's a fully owned 100% subsidiary of ARAPL. So the warehousing market is around 25,000 crore in next 2 years. Higher revenue and strong order book around this we are trying to build. FY24 will see a substantial growth from this business vertical. As far as traction in this vertical, we are in advanced talk with few companies, and we will come back with the announcement as this happens. We are in advanced talk to complete some business with some companies, and we will announce as it happens. And this is a small, also we would like to mention about our initiative in Masterg.ai, which we have invested. There is a whole separate team which is looking into this, and this is a SaaS based model which will be launching in November end. That is what we expect. Okay, so I would just like to show you what is Masterg.ai. So this shows our capability of vision based AI, then conversational AI and navigation AI. So putting all the technology, we have built this. The moment it sees hindrances, it changes the path automatically. We have developed the capability of face recognition, mood recognition.
Hi Robin. You are studying very well. Keep it up. Hi Milin. Happy birthday. How is your basketball training going on?
So it recognizes the name, it recognizes the unknown person in the lot. It can talk to you in various languages. Our conversational AI, which we have inbuilt from our partner company, The Yantra Research Labs. Then further few key points about our future. So ARAPL new subsidiary for warehousing automation is ARAPL RAS. Why this subsidiary is formed, keeping in mind the interest of our stakeholders and investor of ARAPL, we have formed these new subsidiaries with a long-term plan of demerging from the parent company. The company aims to create a greater value for our existing investors, as the business forecasts in this vertical are very exponential and hence will require greater funding. By forming new subsidiaries, the company will have access to venture capital. Plan to fund new subsidiaries, ARAPL RAS Private Limited and MasterG.ai Private Limited. Going forward in H2 FY22, we plan to raise first round of fund, partly through debt and partly through equity. Post revenue, we plan to fund the future expansions with a combination of internal accruals, debt and equity. So margin forecast, we expect higher blended margin going ahead through this vertical. And these are the contact. And now we are open for Q&A. Thanks. So people can ask question in the chat and then we can reply one by one. Would you write? You can ask questions.
We would like to specify that the current competitors in parking are RR Parkon and maybe Pari and Tedra Parking. For automation, there is Patil Automation and SD. And for warehousing, warehousing doesn't really have a competitor in the market as of right now. The two biggest competitors, Grey Orange has moved to US to get listed in NASDAQ. And a second company has been, by the name of Adverb, has been bought by a major giant of e-commerce.
And there are a few companies in warehousing who are doing bits and pieces, but
Nobody's going to provide a turnkey solution like we would.
Yeah, so we are coming up with a turnkey solution, and as far as the RAS is concerned, there is no one in the RAS in India. So here in RAS, we will be moving from CapEx to OpEx model. So it is basically per use and per use basis. The moment you order one thing from Flipkart or anything like Big Basket or Amazon, we will get the money once we fulfill that order, right? So it is a per use basis from our customers.
Like I can see a question here, any guidance for H2? As a company policy, we will not be giving you any guidance numbers or forecasting. We'll just be showing future trends to you today. I would like to go it question by question. Just give me a second. The second question is revenue targets for the next 3-4 years, and how much funds would we raise? I'll just read the questions to you. How much funds would we raise?
So, as I said, as a policy, we would not give any number guidance, but What I can say is we are taking Grey Orange as our benchmark, and Grey Orange is getting listed this year for $1.5 billion. So we are taking them as a benchmark. But as far as the numbers are concerned, I won't be able to, give any number guidance.
Then I would like to. Rahul's question was, how big are we as compared to our competitors? In parking, we are on par with our competitors. In automation welding, we are on par with our competitors. And in warehousing, like our MD just said, the biggest competitor, Grey Orange, is getting listed for 1.5 billion.
Question
So we are
one
not on. So they are bigger than us at this point, but they're not really interested in the Indian market right now.
So I would like to add here how big we, as compared to our competitors. In warehouse, we are just starting, right? And we want to scale up to our competitors, benchmark competitors in next fastest possible, right? So Grey Orange started in probably 2014 and reached a point here to $1.5 billion. So we want to cross that journey faster than them, and that is why we are adopting RAS. That is what we aim for.
Is segment-wise, how much market share can we expect in next 5 years?
So as we said, key welding automation has a lot of customization. We will have an organic growth there of around whatever we are maintaining organic growth. And if the industry move faster, like electric vehicles coming in, so we will see a good growth there in welding automation. Car parking also, with a lot of smart city coming in, and we catering to smart city, we expect quite good organic growth. Whereas in the warehousing automation, which we are starting, we expect a lot of exponential growth there. Yeah,
I would like to add for the welding automation, as you know about the chip shortages, a lot of companies like Tata and Mahindra are right now developing their own chips. They are into the process of that. So I'm seeing a boom by next year, and not as a market portrays that it will be booming by 2023. I see that next year will be really exponential for electric as well as our automotive vehicles that currently exist in India. The next question is the guidance that we have been that we have addressed. How are you expecting strong growth in warehouse automation segment, and who are your Indian competitors?
So this we have said, right? The competitors are Adverb, which is bought by a company, and another competitor is Grey Orange, which is doing hardly 10% business in India, and 90% business is coming from the developed market, and they are focusing there. So practically there is a vacuum here, what we feel.
There's a huge vacuum, and there is no company in India with the current expertise to fulfill it. And we are very confident with the kind of expertise we have currently. We will be there will be a lot of traction about us and our company, and we are in advanced talks with a lot of companies. As soon as something is confirmed, we will be telling you firsthand.
So first you have to read the question.
Good afternoon. Congratulations on your business numbers achieved till now. My question is pertaining stock being traded in lot size of 1600. Is there a possibility that share being traded in one share like other shares?
So as we are listed on SME exchange, and as per the government guideline, it has to be traded in a lot. This is to safeguard the small investors, so that when they invest, they have to invest a sizable amount, and once they do that, they will do their due diligence properly, right? So once we get migrated to the main board, which is very natural thing for us, once we grow, probably in a very near future, probably. So once we start trading on BSE main board, you will be able to trade it with one stock also.
Can you name some of the marquee
Next question.
customers and contribution of the top 3 customers?
So in automotive, yes, we have Mahindra, Tata, Honda, Hero, Cosma, Cosma Magna, Piaggio, Suzuki. And then in car parking, we have Lodha, then we have Parini, we have Rudraksh, we have NL, Ruparel, we have. In warehousing automation, we are targeting all, right? So we are targeting Flipkart, we are targeting Big Basket, Grofers, Swiggy, and everyone there, DMart, right?
Hi, Milind. Very impressed that an Indian company is doing what you do, but I'm surprised that you are such a small company. In spite of being in business for so many years, any reason why you haven't been able to scale up? What challenges do you face?
Yeah, so this is a very common question, Rahulji, being asked. And that is what I also keep on feeling, that we have been doing business for last 15 years and we are not able to scale up. So I come from a very old school, right? So um, we always thought that, business has to be done with only one way, right? Taking debt from bank. And then so for scalability, of course, you need funds. So gray orange, if you see, the gray orange has been scaled so fast because they were having some marquee people, promoter, founders there. So they know the game of that, and we learned a lot from them. So we have changed our way of doing business now. We know the game of scaling, and you will see a lot of change in probably next couple of years. You will see a lot of scalability. So when we started in 2005, people used to call us fool that we trying to make robos and trying to sell robos. So that was the era, and we were probably fighting with our own perception that whether robo will be sold in India or not, and this and that. And we started with welding robotics, so which was having a lot of customization. So we are completely moving towards productization of our robots. So you will see a lot of scalability now and a lot of value to our investors.
How big is the warehouse segment in India in terms of revenue? Are there any plans to scale up in different countries?
So as I said, there is a market of 25,000 crore in next 2 years for warehousing automation. There is warehousing is what welding automation was in 2005. There is no automation in warehouse now, and it is full of manpower, and there's a lot of pressure everywhere in warehouse, right? In terms of the cost of per pick and all. So there is a lot of pressure there. So automation will bring down that. There will be a lot of business case there, we feel. And yes, we do have plans to scale up in US, and we have started ARAPL Michigan in 2020 February, but then due to COVID, we had stalled that. And we definitely have plans to go there in US and other Western world, because that will have a larger value for our products.
Will this presentation be available on the exchanges?
Yes.
Yes, this will be available.
Yes, it will be.
What is our business moat?
Shantanu, would you explain what you want to ask? What is your business moat means? Model or motto or what? What is that? Okay, till that time, we will take the next question.
Who will be our major customers in warehousing?
No, there is no cash burn at all in this warehousing. This major customers will be among these 4-5 major players. These are the people with whom we are in touch. So there is no cash burn. From day one, there is no cash burn.
For the moat, it is like a USP. What is a business USP? what Shantanu was asking.
Okay, so what is your business USP? So business USP is, of course, a lot of things. So presently there is a lot of pressure on all e-commerce and other players for reducing the cost, increasing the speed. So with automation, we are reducing the delivery cost by half, and that is going to make them a business case which will reduce their cash burn drastically, I hope. And then the speed are going to increase with the automation, because now people are saying that the delivery they need in 10 minutes and 20 minutes. So it is all becoming a speed thing. So we are going to achieve 3x speed, half the price of deliveries. And of course we are moving from capex to opex, so customers are very happy to do that, right?
Mr. Prashant had asked who would be your major customers in warehousing. I would like to respond to that. We are targeting nearly all major e-commerce businesses at this point.
Yeah.
Do you see receivable challenges from big auto clients still?
No. So these have been improved over last 2-3 months. It has improved drastically. I hope there is no further disruption, and the things are improved a lot from what it was from COVID.
Sir, what would bring scale in the business? What has changed versus the past?
So what has changed is we have come to product, and we are saying ki now this is the product and it is to be bought, it is to be sold to everyone like this, with minimum customization. So we are going to make robos like how they make cars. So we are going to produce that. It is not on the order basis. We are going to continuously produce, or at a point we will start mass manufacturing of robos, and that is going to change, and that is going to bring the scale.
How much of robotic automation is with the unorganized sector?
Unorganized sector. What do you mean by unorganized sector? Is like okay, I have not understood this question, but still I will try to reply. So our customers are OEM and tier 1. So tier 1 are the customers who are supplying to the OEM the welding bodies or the welding parts. So these are small but not unorganized. These are big players. So they are also to the tune of 1,000 crores to 2,000 crore companies. So these are the tier 1 and OEM, if you mean those unorganized. And then the companies who supply to them are like companies like us. So there are very few Indian players here in robotic welding automation. As far as car parking automation is concerned, there are again few Indian companies who are catering to the niche product. So car parking also, you will see there are a lot of products. Okay, so we are not there in the low end products where the margins are very tight and where there is there is no automation and anybody can make. So those type of products we are not there. We are there in the niche products where probably our competitor are hardly RR and Pari. Okay, so we have only 2 competitors in the high end product, and that too when we go to the highest end, it is only Pari and us who are there. So Pari is bought by Wipro now.
And if you want to talk, if you mean by unorganized sector, like if you're talking about warehousing, they are not currently using a lot of robotic automation. They would like to, but nobody can provide them end-to-end solutions. What are your top 3 threats/risks to our business?
Our top threats and risk, we have tried to address to all our threats and risks for last 15 years. And we have seen a lot of threats and risk in last 15 years. And I don't think there is any threat or risk now, because we have such a huge market now. And We have a very strong team behind. As I said, with ESOP and all, so the top management is also a part of this game now. And I don't see any threat or risk as of now.
What is your rationale for diversifying in Master G? Wouldn't it be best to focus on core business? Just trying to understand your mindset, your plans on tightening working capital.
Okay, so Master G is a separate team, completely separate team. So I don't spend a time at all. So our focus is on ARAPL for sure. So Master G is completely led by Mr. Robinson, who is heading that. And so that is one thing. Second thing is it is a SaaS based model. So not too much of working capital is required. And we started this, when we were doing nothing in COVID. Okay. So we were completely idle. We were sitting at home and we never knew, right, what to do. So we started then. And probably in the next meeting, I would show you this product. This product is one of its class, I will say. You must not have seen such product. And this is going to be a super hit. That is what my bet is, right? So I will definitely show you this product in next meeting. And as per me, this product has come up so nice. And there is no product like this, in the market. But we have not invested too much of money in that. As far as my time is concerned, I have not at all spent my time once we started. In COVID time, of course, we were not having much of work, so we used to spend time that. And it is my brainchild, of course. It is my brainchild. But then post that, there is nothing of my time attributed there.
Last year, H2 revenue was around 50 CR.
Where is the
Plus-
question, Rahul? Key advantage of your business?
No. She was explaining what moat was.
Okay.
Last
then-
year, H2 revenue was around.
Rahul, what are our corporate governance? ऐसे तू यहाँ से पढ़ के बोलना.
No, I didn't get that. It is to you direct.
What are our corporate governance practices in terms of board composition, internal and external audits? Okay, so board, we have 4 members from family, 3 members. We have independent board members, 1 from a industry, 1 from a robotic industry, and 1 from a financial background. So chartered accountant. So we have tried to keep 3 different independent directors. So 1 who understand business, 1 who understand robotics, and 1 who understand the finance. So we have tried to diversify the board members there. We have internal audit and also external auditors. So we have both internal auditors and external auditors.
Last year, H2 revenue was around 50 CR plus, but in H1 of current year, only 30 CR. Wanted to know the reason behind it.
So last year, H1 and H2. Acha, okay. So in project industry, if you see our trends, okay, so mostly project industry, H2 will be too much, double or triple of H1, because people generally get their budget approval done in first half, and then most of them require capitalization to be done before March. So generally, we have busy year from now on. We have busy year, and if you see, as I told in my presentation also, that we will close 70 CR in H2, 65 to 70 CR. That is what is the order book looks like.
E-commerce biggies can afford to pay.
Read from here, please. Close that and read from here.
Also, how is the working capital in all 3 segments? Does the contracts have cost pass through? Does the promoters have any other business exposure? What are the key components of the capex spending? Do we have any EV players as our customers?
Ask one by one. So, okay, let's take one by one. how is working capital in all three segments? Does the contract have cost pass through? What does that mean?
Cost है तो cost के ऊपर cost pass
कौन सा?
material cost.
Yes. If you see what we have said is 108 crores order book, but we are able to execute only 70. So wherever there was a issue due to material cost increase, we have gone back. We have started negotiating, and the gap between 70 crore is 108 crore is are the orders where we are still negotiating the cost increase, which is there due to the commodity price increase. So if that was the question,
Maintain the current margins.
so we will maintain the current margin because we cannot absorb such a steep prices. So everywhere either we are doing the cost escalation for the new orders. So that is what it is.
Does
So
the promoter have any other business exposure?
No, apart from these verticals, we don't have any others.
Okay, if you ask that. So no, we are fully invested in ARAPL, and whatever we are going to do, it is through ARAPL only. So there is no other business, anything on our personal name or our family names.
What are the key components of capex spending?
Need basis only for the automation.
What are the key component of capex spending? So capex, there is no capex spending as of now. What is capex?
This year we don't have any that much capex spending plan this year, but yes, we have in future that plans to increase the volumes of deliveries. That will be from the next year, but this year there is no much capex plans this year.
Do we have any EV
As far as this question, if you are asking about the fundraise in new vertical, that is for the business wherein we will be spending for RAS model. But as far as capex spending, there is no capex spending planned in ARAPL or ARAPL RAS.
do we have any EV players as our customers?
So we have quoted to Ola, and we are doing a small line for Bajaj EV.
E-commerce biggies can afford to pay, then why RAS, why OPEX? If customers are going to save, they might as well as invest.
So RAS will get a higher IRR, and RAS brings down the entry barrier. It also gives us a lot of scalability, and once we reach a scale, probably we change the model to capex also. Then second thing is when it is OPEX, the order finalization gets faster, and the main thing for going in RAS is now we are betting on X volume, which is today, right? But there is a clause there wherein tomorrow the volume increases, we will have per transaction additional income. So that will drastically push our IRR. So that is one thing, and which we clearly see that today, if the volume is X, in 2 years, the transaction volume is going to be 2x, and then it is very fast going to be 3x also. So all the incremental transactions are we are going to get paid extra, right?
I love this next question. Your robots are not looks attractive. What are your plans to improve appearances of your robots?
Okay.
I would like to answer this. I would really like to answer this. Our robots are not meant actually for you to see. There's either in a warehouse or in a factory. For like, while looks might matter, for my customers, the only thing they care about is their performance. And if I can commit them their performances, they're pretty happy. And if I suppose put some good-looking material on my robots, neither my customer pays me for that, and neither is that cheap.
So I will also like to answer. So we are engaging with a NID designer for product design in this, and it is the same machine inside, right? The cover has to be improved. So now the first lot of robots what we'll be making, we are engaging a NID designer, and he's going to design. So all the robots what you have seen, probably the Master G and all, is a 3D printed. Okay, so we are going to go in the mold, and we are going to go through dye and mold, and we are going to have a glossy finish in that.
In car parking, does redevelopment or building offer a very big opportunity? Do we also have small developers as a customer? I would like to answer that because I look after that. Redevelopment does offer a lot of opportunities, especially in very packed cities like Mumbai. And do we have small developers? Yeah, we do have small developers also as our customers because they do make huge projects, especially if you look into cities like Mumbai or Bangalore. So yeah, that's that. If tomorrow a big company like Amazon/Reliance comes into robotic automation, will it put our business at risk? How can we safeguard ourselves from such scenarios?
Okay, so I would like to reply this. Both Amazon and Reliance have their own automation company, robotic automation company. So the business is so huge in India, and it is the players like Amazon's own robotic or Reliance own robotic won't be able to supply that much. First thing. And apart from Amazon and Reliance, also there is a lot of big market out there which we are targeting first, and then we will be going to these people. So and the cost at which we will be supplying, these people won't be able to supply, because we are putting all our last 15 years expertise in this, and we will have a very cost optimized robots which nobody will be able to supply. That is what I can assure you.
The next question is, who are our bankers?
So our bankers are Axis Bank, and we are also talking to SBI now.
Is Master G a novel concept or is it tried and tested somewhere else in the world? Can you please talk about export opportunities? What is your vision for this company? Hope we are doing con calls so that we can better understand your business. Thanks.
So unfortunately today Robin is not there because of his he had some function, and I have to speak about Master G today. Otherwise Robin would have spoken in length. So Master G is a very noble concept. Okay, so it gives you a test. It is not a first of all monologue robo, right? You can talk to it, and it continuously interacts. It continuously, like a robo, it continuously takes your input and gives you output. So it gives you a small test, and then it gives you an exact prediction that how much marks you're going to score in the upcoming exam. And it also shows chapter by chapter your weak areas, and then it also start teaching you those weak areas. And then every end of the session, it will keep on predicting what is your marks, what is upcoming marks, how much you can score for your upcoming exams. So it's a very noble, very new concept. And so about the exports opportunity, there is a lot of export opportunity there, and the whole world is moving towards the dark stores, or the small fulfillment center, which is a very new concept. And the dark stores are, the name itself is dark, right? So it is supposed to be robo working there, not a human. So dark factories were there in automotive, and dark stores are coming in warehouse. So these 10 minutes delivery and 15 minutes delivery is all dark store thing, right? So it is a hub and spoke model. So the material comes from probably the city FC to your neighborhood, and from there it is delivered to you. So it is very difficult what items to be kept in the dark store, because dark stores are normally very small, right? It is 3,000, 5,000 square feet, which is in a neighborhood. Whereas the main warehouse, which is there probably in the city, like in Pune, it is in Chakan, and Mumbai, it is Bhiwandi. So there, these are warehouses are huge, like 1 lakh square feet and 2 lakh square feet. But when it comes to neighborhood, these are like 3,000 and 5,000 square feet. And here the AI and ML plays a very vital role, that what kind of, SKUs or what kind of material will be sold in that that area. So that makes it very interesting. And it is all going to be automation in dark store all around the world. Okay. So dark store automation is slightly tricky, and we will be addressing that subsequently. As of now, we are focusing on city FCs.
Our present customer profile.
Our present customer profile is all automotive companies, as I said, Mahindra, Tata, Piaggio, Bajaj, and Cosma Magna, Suzuki, Hero, Honda for automotive. And for car parking automation, it is Lodha, Enel, Ruparel, Rudraksh, Parini, and smart cities. Yeah, smart cities.
Have you supplied welding robots to Ola Electric or any other EV players?
No, we have not supplied to Ola. We are in the negotiation of supplying, and we have supplied a small line to one of the vendors of Bajaj for their Bajaj EV.
How will RAS earn higher IRR? The initial cost of the robots will be recovered over a period of time. So we will have to spend first and recover the cost later.
So can we reply this?
As far as with the current working model, we have recognized a payback period of around 4 to 5 years.
So higher IRR. Okay. So higher IRR is there with a combination of that. The answer is slightly tricky. But in short, I will tell that there is a lock-in of 4 years. So we recover the money in 4 years, and the contract is for 7 years. And the life of the robo is 10 years. Okay. So we recover the cost and profit in 4 years. And then further years is all our pure profit. And whatever are the additional transactions, those will bring higher additional revenue. And there is a lock-in of 4 years. That is what we are discussing. So Mr. Robinson has also joined. So I would like to welcome Robin. Robin, would you say a few words about Masterji? They all want to hear.
Yeah. So am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're audible.
So there was a question on novelty of Masterji and its kind of, export potential. Yeah, I wanted to jump to that really. Yeah, but I was not able to speak out. So yes, Masterji is a little novel. It is not, people keep asking me as to whether, why are we entering into this bandwagon, which already has 2,500 players. Yeah. So Masterji is a little different, and I would like to take 2 minutes. So if you look at the entire edtech sector and the edtech invasion in the student study canvas, yeah. Currently, if you look at broadly, the student study canvas is divided into 3 parts. The first part being the school, wherein he understands the concept, yeah. There, the digital invasion is from Educom or Tata Sky. A couple of more guys are there. The second part of the student study canvas is, reaffirmation of this concept which he has learned. Yeah. And that happens either through tuitions in a conventional manner or through ODA online. That's where digital invasion has come in. Or he self-studies and, marks or highlights his chapters and reaffirms his understanding of whatever he knows. Yeah. The digital invasion, like I said, here is ODA Academy, online classes, your Byju's, and there is a lot of free content also, where he is reaffirming whatever he's learned in school. The third part of this office study canvas deals precisely wherein he sits and solves this question one by one. Yeah. At that point in time, he neither has any help, neither is there any digitalization there. Yeah. So we have gone ahead and, we probably are the only player in that particular arena of the student study canvas wherein he's studying alone. Yeah. So we have inbuilt it with a lot of FAQs, a lot of AIs, a lot of, conversational AIs wherein he can talk to the robo. The robo talks back and answers this question. We have inbuilt the robo with AI such in that even if we are not able to answer a particular question at a particular time, we will get it corrected very soon, and the entire platform learns it. So this is a SaaS based model, and it is a help for the student who is preparing for his studies. Number two, if you look at currently when a student is studying, yeah, if you look at how he's studying, is that there is no customized curriculum for him. So for example, I give this example, like if there are two students who's getting 40% and both their aspirations are 80%. So our robo will teach both of them differently. It will understand this guy is better in maths, yeah, or this guy is better in circle, so he needs to be taught more of algebra. This guy is weak in algebra, he needs to be taught more of, trigonometry or something. It will formulate curriculum differently based on what he knows and what he doesn't know. And thus, what it is doing is it is saving the time. So if you talk about the benefit, what we have measured out is what an average student needs around 4 to 5 hours. This will need only half the time. Yeah, this is all what we have done. We have almost in the near of completion. Probably I am expecting it by, the next this quarter end or early next quarter. We can plan to launch it. Regarding the import or the export kind of a scenario, we have not delved into it, but yes, there could be a use case there. But India itself is a huge market, and I think we will be staying focused here for the first 6 months or a year after launch. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin, sir.
Thank you,
Robin
Robin.
is the ex-VP of Telenor. I would even like to add that. I'll jump to the next question. Is it fair that for our warehousing, we have small players, we will have small players and not large e-com players who will have their own captive robotic capabilities?
Okay, so no, it is not right. So apart from Amazon and Reliance, first let us come to other players which are very huge. Those are Big Basket. Those are Zomato. There are Grofers, Swiggy, and DMart and Flipkart. Okay. As far as these players are concerned, like Amazon has bought Kiva Robotics quite early stage, right? But still in India, Amazon work is done by ATS conveyors. So it is not true that, once they have their own captive, people don't use. If you see Tata Motors also had a robotic division, TAL, by the name TAL. But TAL was not at all competitive, and eventually all other players are doing Tata work. Even for other giants who have bought some companies, they don't have those bandwidth or technology to complete this kind of job end to end. And even if partly is done by their own companies, there is a huge potential out, and not everybody is going to buy robotic companies because they have to focus their own companies also, right?
In the past few months, we visited a lot of warehouses. We would not name companies that we have visited, but 150,000 square foot of a warehouse will have nearly 1,000 people doing all work manually, all of it. I'll go to the next question. How much capex will you be incurring over the next 1 year? Please ignore this if you have already answered this question. We'll barely be incurring. I'll just repeat that as well.
So we have answered that, and we are not incurring any capex.
In a RAS model, what will be your scope of work? Who will provide the land, material, etc.?
So in RAS model, as we are doing robotic automation, right? So the land and the shed, of course, the company is going to provide. And as far as the material is concerned, so we are only going to supply the robot, right? robo and the complete AI, the complete software part of it. So we are going to be in automation, robo, and software part. Rest everything is customer is going to do.
In terms of capabilities, are our robots at par with Grey Orange in category where both of you are present? Is there a third party audit or industry report which ranks the efficiency of robots of different players?
So okay, our robos definitely will be at par, because what we see is the speed with which the robo travels. So we are at par with Grey Orange, and we have a few combination of VLM machines with the robos, so that makes the robo faster, even faster. So if you ask, both of us are targeting 600 picks per person per hour. So that is what are the, you know, benchmarks for which Grey Orange is also working. And we have also designed all our warehouses for 600 picks per person per hour, and somewhere we are even targeting 900 picks per person per hour.
How do our robots stack up against those used in warehouses in UK and US? I mean, is there a chance that our products are not accepted based on quality?
No, so these are the benchmark things, right? One is the picks per person per hour. Then the robots which are moving in US and UK are also on QR code, and there are various type of robots being used by people to increase this picks per person per hour. So ultimately, the selling point is this: how much we can pick per hour. So those will define whether, and as and when you can improve that in minimum cost, that is going to be the benchmarks to sell in foreign market also.
I would like to just comment a bit more. There are only two companies that are selling in the US. Like mainly, there are only two companies. One is Kiva, that was bought by Amazon and does not supply to any other warehouse giant right now. And the second is Grey Orange. Okay, so there are not a lot of competitors in this market worldwide. I would like you to understand that. Next question: Do you have built any robots for sorting and picking of parcels?
Yeah, so we are doing end to end, right from put away to picking to sorting to dispatch. So we are giving end to end solution with all robots.
I joined a bit late. Will you be uploading the call transcription on Exchange in a week or so?
Yes.
Yes, we will do that.
In the warehouses that are that you visited, which are fully operated by humans, what is your pitch? Is it the cost saving, payback on interest of robos, efficiency? If you can quantify some of these parameters, we can quantify a lot of these parameters. I would like Mr. Milind to continue on this.
So one is the cost per pick. So that is what it is, right? The cost per pick we are saving. And as I said, pick per person per hour, that is the second pitch which we are doing. So it covers both cost and efficiency. And if you can quantify some of them. So these are the two parameters, cost and efficiency.
We would also be saving on some land, like in square footage. We
Yeah.
would be increasing their picks from maybe if it's 2 lakh picks today to maybe 4 lakh picks if they can reach that. If they ever get orders of that much, we will be prepared. And third, we will be reducing manpower from what they have to maybe 1/10 of what it is today. Next question. Masterji sounds very exciting and useful to the end users. Have you talked to schools to see if they want it? What I have noticed is that most schools don't want edtech solutions, even if it is beneficial to the child. I am wondering if it is too early for India.
Robin, would you answer this, please?
Raman sir?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Meaning, can keep giving me the access. Yeah, so don't remove the access from me. Okay, so what was the question, Rahul?
Master G sounds very exciting and useful to the end user. Have you talked to schools to see if they want it? What I have noticed is that most schools don't want edtech solutions, even if it is beneficial to the child. I am wondering if it is too early for India.
Yes, partly right there. Yeah, I would start by saying that Masterji doesn't focus at school currently. Yeah, though the future plan is to kind of do the schools part also. But currently, Masterji is not focusing on schools. Currently, Masterji is a SaaS-based product. Like I said, it focuses on that part or that canvas, part of the student study canvas, where the student is sitting alone and studying. Yeah. So it plans the entire curriculum for him. It kind of, takes it through question one by one, and it takes it through only relevant questions. So, for example, a student is studying for 2 hours, yeah, and that is what he usually does after all the tuitions and school. When he's sitting alone and studying, what he does is solves problem or takes question one by one. With Masterji takes you through all those questions which you actually need to go through rather than you want to go through. Yeah. So it focuses on your need. It focuses on how it can upskill you from a X to Y. Yeah. Y being a better score within the minimal time. So the punchline also goes like maximum scores in minimal time. Yeah, and we are not kind of confusing too much around it that we can give the world over this. We are putting it a very limited kind of a very very clear statement that the entire thing about Mastery currently in the current scheme of things is maximizing score in minimum time by giving students what they need to know rather than what they want to know. Yeah, because students are also currently confused. Second thing is that when we go to schools, yeah, we will obviously go to schools probably in phase 2, as a next step to this. I think by that time, there will be a lot of value which has already been discovered, yeah, by the student, and there will be a lot of word of mouth. I think that will help, and probably by that time, the timing will also be right where the student, where the teachers and the school will be, ready to embrace us at that point in time. That's it. Thank you.
So I would like to move to the next question. Since Master G is a SaaS-based model, then why is there a need to build a big robot instead of an application which can run on laptop or mobile? The robot is like a mascot. It just shows off our strengths. It is basically an application which runs on a mobile or a laptop, but like it was just a mascot that we built to showcase like what our strengths are, what we can provide.
So, to the answer to that, it is a SaaS-based robo, and the app is being being tested now. So it is of course, a SaaS-based. So we were making AGVs for our warehouse. Okay, so we were testing natural navigation, and we wanted to test voice commands for warehouse. So in warehouse, there is a lot of picking happening through voice commands also, which is conversational AI, right? So when you go to various cities, so not everybody understand English or Hindi, right? So that is the fancy which we have for our partner, the Yantra Research Lab. So the Yantra Research Lab has 9 NLP engines in different languages, and which we were testing for our voice command pickings for warehouse. So we wanted to test our conversational AI, we wanted to test our navigation, natural navigation, and also vision based, right? So we have been working on vision AI for a long time now. So vision, we are building vision AI with one of our partner called Neophyte. So we are working on all the AIs, conversational AI, navigation AI, and vision AI. So putting all together, we wanted to make one bot. And so we made one bot, which we then thought should be a mascot also for Master G. But we were testing our all capabilities. So vision also, we are working quite a lot. So we are developing ambient intelligence there. So ambient intelligence gives a lot of other stuff which our robo can't do, right? So robo basically works on sensors and basically works on input and output, right? So when there are vision cameras around in the warehouse, right? So they will be able to see if there is a theft, if there is a shrinkage. So if you see any warehouse, there is 7% shrinkage. So shrinkage control is a very big thing. With embedded intelligence, we are going to define the SOPs that a person has to come at this time, has to do this. A person is not supposed to go there. This person is supposed to come here. So at the end of the day, it is going to give a digital dashboard, the embedded intelligence through vision technology, that this can be a problem area or this can be a theft, and you need to check that. So the vision cameras are going to create a lot of digital output. So that is how we are working on vision AI also. And combination of all that, we had just put in the mascot.
What will be the success percentage of picking the right parcels?
Oh, that's 100% success.
Yeah, we have weight transducers, AIs, cameras. We have so many things inbuilt in a warehouse that I don't think there will be a problem. And as a future development, we will be also putting in X-ray machines that will that will see what's inside the package, because a lot of people like C-type vendors, that's what warehouses call them, don't really send 100% QC check material. So people like our customers would like for us to develop a solution where they can see inside the package even before the package goes for quality check or for dispatch. Like we are working a lot on like the assurity that the right thing is being picked up. There's a laser, there will be a proper pointer that will guide a person to pick up the correct thing, put the exact number. Then there will be cameras to make sure that he's done that. There will be a button to make sure that he's acknowledging that he's done that, as well as there will be at the end of the line, there will be a weight transducer which will calculate if he's put the correct stuff or not.
Okay, so Robin, I think, wants to speak something. So Robin, you're unmuted now.
Yeah, no, I think it was over, I guess. I was talking about the mascot. You addressed it correctly. So, like in an Olympics, we have Appu as a mascot, but Appu doesn't take part in the Olympics, right? So it is just to create some excitement around what we are making. It is to create, it is actually a show of strength of what we can do as a technology company. Yeah, so that the credibility improves. It is to kind of, build in a novelty factor. So these were the three key reasons why we decided to come out with a mascot. And later on, when we go to school, yeah, we popularize it to an extent that people have a recognition. Yeah, people always want to kind of bond with people whom they know a little about. Yeah, so by the time the SaaS is over to the next level, we would have popularized it so that, we get a little more better than a cold welcome when we go to schools. Acceptability is a little more better, and then we can do our ice breaking there. Thank you.
I would like to move to the next question. How many engineers are there in the company? How big is our R&D team?
We have total 300 people here, out of which 150 are engineers, various engineers like electronic, electrical, computers, and mechanical. And so they are into various fields like simulation of robo teaching, offline programming of robo, and so on. So R&D, basically, I completely spend my time in new product development. So Rahul and me spend a lot of time. I especially spend a lot of time in developing, especially the vision-based and conversational based and navigation based products, the mobile robots, and the entire system. So we have a team which is basically led by Mr. Sanjay Jakkal, the guy who is developing the new products. And then we have few people like 4 or 5 mechanical engineers assisting to them. But then more or less vision based, we are partnered with a company, a new startup, which have 3 data scientists, all studied from, one studied from Milan, one studied from US, and young chaps. So they are Neophyte. The company name is Neophyte. So Neophyte is into vision. We are developing vision technologies with them. Then as far as conversational, we are developing with our own company like Diyantra Research Lab. So we are working in conversational AI into that. And then navigation, we are developing on our own. We are looking for some partner in navigation, but as of now, we are developing our own navigation. We have developed our own navigation technology.
What will be profit margins going forward?
So it is going to improve from where we are. The profit margins are going to improve from where we are.
Do you have any plans to supply automation solutions or to be their vendor to industrial automation players like L&T Technology Services?
So L&T, we have supplied one robotic solution for welding their boilers. So this L&T itself is a project type of industry, right? So supplying welding automation is a lot of customization. As far as L&T Technology Services, I don't know what they do, and I really don't know. We have never approached them, or we as of now we only plan to focus on e-commerce and these players where we will be giving warehousing, and we have existing customers like all automotive and all real estate. So we will be focusing on these three sectors.
Now the questions are done.
Read, Rahul.
And this is just a constructive criticism that we've received. Thanks for answering the questions. This is not a question, but a constructive feedback. Companies listed in SME exchange are known for its not so robust corporate governance practice. As per your company, transactions on getting listed on main exchange and grows, it will help company attract institutional investors if it is able to improve corporate governance, which includes board composition and having a bigger auditor, if not the big five. All the best.
Okay, thanks a lot, Chirag, for this feedback, and we will definitely work on that.
So if there are no more questions, we can bring the session to an end. We would like to thank you for giving us your time, attending this, asking questions, participating in everything. And if there is any news, we will be updating you very soon. And also, this entire meeting and transcript will be posted on the exchange.
And do please write to us to cfo.arapl.co.in or info.arapl.co.in if you have any further questions. And thanks a lot, guys. Please keep supporting us, and we assure that we will not let you down, and please support us. As you have
we have
done.
a lot of
Thanks a lot.
releases. If you would follow us on Twitter, you can see a lot of our interviews and press releases constantly. Our Twitter handle is ARAPL, right?
Twitter handle.
We'll be sharing our Twitter handle as well to you guys, so that you can follow us on Twitter, so that you can get to know whenever we post something about the company. That will help if like there's a constant interaction. Otherwise, you can always join con calls as such.
We have our PR group also joined in this, I guess, and Rashmi or Surbi, you must have read this. So please release a press release if possible. So you need to take up this, and we keep on releasing press release, but we will also start releasing frequently now.
Okay. That being said, I would like to thank all of you. And we would like to bring this session to a close. Thank you for your support and your engagement today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye.
Recording